Welcome to Paper to Pavement. We're doing a live here at 5 to do kind of a recap for the whole year, the show season. Answer any questions y'all may have. It's been kind of a wild ride here, and we'll wait for people to get here while we kind of get settled in. Working really hard to turn this back room into a pantry, as you kind of see over there. And then I've got a new art studio that can be heated, so I can get to working on a lot more art pieces and shirt designs. That's what I'm kind of working on now. I've got my new Mikey's Acre of Earth logo coming together. I decided to do myself as like a little Sasquatch, and it'll be standing on a globe. But that's going to be mascot for my show. I can't believe I've actually dove in and turned this into something.
Now, as people are jumping on, and I haven't seen you probably since Christmas or so, but I kind of have my own questions for you. So, do you think that the truck or the Bugeye Sprite will be the official goal for 2025 Sega race?
Yeah, so that is kind of the big announcements. We're going back to the Southeast Gasser Association. H-Gas is going to be running for points for the first time. And I was going to be building that Model A truck that my father-in-law left my wife. But after looking through the scrap pile, I just have so much more to get that Bugeye done. And after showing up with a micro car, like a foreign micro car, that's just kind of me, like Micro Mikey. And I just want to go back with that Bugeye. I've got the rear end that Tim Irwin put together for me. Him and Rory Campbell, they hooked me up with Mosier, and we got a really nice rear end. And it's already cut to size and everything for that. And then I've got a little 153 Chevy 4-cylinder. On episode 4 of Mikey's Acre of Earth, I did a trade for some upholstery work for this basket case race motor from my buddy Delbert. And I'm really kind of excited to see what a 153 that's been machined for a stroker actually turns out to be. And with the weight on it's going to end up being like a 171 cubic inch. So with 10 pounds per cubic inch in H-gas, that lets me, with me in it, need to weigh about 1,700 pounds. And I think I can do that with that Bugeye. It's going to be a lot harder to do that with the Model A, as many body panels as I've got. Plus, I mean, the last couple years, I've really made it hard on myself with my starting line. I have used absolute garbage, just digging through the trash. And when I go back there and look, man, that Bugeye Sprite is nice. It is very nice.
Pumpkin Garage and Paint said hello from Georgia, and the Bugeye Sprite is going to be cool. Now, can you guys hear me? Or hear Mikey as well? We just want to make sure that we're going with one of our new microphones. Make sure it's not just quiet out there. So
if you
someone out there can hear us, just give us a thumbs up or a comment. We can hear you.
But yeah, I got that little Bugeye Sprite a couple years ago from my buddy Benny. And then me and Trent had an adventure.
You can hear both.
They're good?
We're good.
Me and Trent had an adventure one afternoon. We weren't planning on having together, but I went towards Virginia to get a roof that I'd located for it. And the transmission dropped in my truck. And Trent had to come rescue me. And that put that Bugeye on ice. That was a car that I really wanted to do nice. And I was thinking, man, if I keep racing, I'm going to go bankrupt. I've got to get out and build this channel up and get an audience to bring back to the Southeast Gasser Association. And I hope I've done that. We've really done big things the last couple years with these Izettas. And now I get to take another pretty rare foreign car. It's kind of an icon, a British car, and build into a little hot rod.
What's the engine setup going to be again?
It's that engine that I did the upholstery with Delbert in trade for, and it's an inline Chevy 4-cylinder out of like a mid-60s Chevy 2, little Nova engine.
Okay.
So it's in the same family as like what I'm used to, the 230s, 250s, and 292s, but it's like the baby brother to them. So I think it's just going to be a lot easier to get reliable power. H-gas is a fairly new class, and the thing about H-gas that we have learned to know is that if you've got a fairly reliable car, you're going to win more races than you don't. I'm not too worried about being the fastest car there, but I definitely want something that isn't like the Krusty Krab. You know, that Krusty Krab, I spent way more time bolting it back together when it slung apart. And this time with an inline Chevy, I have a heavy duty 3-speed Saginaw, which I know is not, you know, like a G-Force or something, but it's an affordable, reliable transmission for a car this light. It should do really well. And then I've got that Mosier rear end with like a 588 gear, so it should even bring the front wheels off the ground if we do it right.
Nice. And then obviously that car's has to be 4-speed, correct?
Well, it's got to be a manual, and mine's going to be a 3-speed, you know.
Okay.
So, like, of course, I would rather it be. I wish I still had. I wish I still had that transmission I had in the Bug Zapper, but at Jericho. But I had to sell it to get through the pickle jar build and big deal. So,
we have Aussie from England that says, "Love everything you're doing, bro," and then gives a shout out from England.
Thanks, dude. England, man, wow.
Okay, so 3-speed, straight 4?
Yeah, inline 4-cylinder. So it's going to be, I mean, it's essentially a 250 Chevy 6-cylinder with the front 2 cylinders knocked off of it.
Okay.
So I have stock bell housing, and it's going to save me a fortune, you know, because originally I was going to do Volkswagen engine with this handmade adapter to bolt a transmission on, and I'm just tired of taking it that hard on myself with racing. I'm a cosmetic guy. Like, I can make something pretty, I can do the upholstery, I can paint it. That's what I went to WyoTech for. I took street rod, which was like sheet metal fabrication. That's what I specialized in, street rod. And then when I took upholstery, like, that's been my life. So I'm really good with patterns. I'm really good at, you know, finish work. But when it comes like dialing something in and making it run as fast as it can, that's what I'm trying to learn to do. So this allows me to kind of keep it fairly simple with an inline Chevy that'll bolt up to a Saginaw GM Chevy transmission, and then I've got a 4.9-inch rear end. So I mean, I have a combination that not only can I get parts for, but I can get knowledge in the group of friends that I have. I'm not having to get all this specialty parts and everything like the Volkswagen. That Krusty Krab, I had $26,000 in that car. Like, by the time it was all said and done, I had 26 grand in that thing. That's the most money I've ever put into anything. I didn't have that much money in the 6-cylinder. So, I mean, you look at, that was the least fun I ever had with a vehicle in my life, was that car. And I loved the car. Like, I had an emotional attachment to it with my nephew, because that was kind of the only thing he was alive to see me put together. And after that, I got too sentimentally attached to that memory. And it kind of drove me crazy a little bit.
Yeah. You probably went farther than you ever would with any other car because of that.
That's the only reason I did, you know, looking back.
Do you now, I don't know if there's something that you'll explain in the actual episodes when filming the Bugeye Sprite, or is that something you'll bring up today? But do you have a budget line involved where you don't want to go over a certain number, or you think it's just whatever you have and just get it done for the racing season?
I've traded for a lot of this car already. Like, you'll see on the next episode, that rear end, I've traded.
Keep going.
Okay.
There.
Okay, cool. But I've traded for a lot on that thing. You'll see on the next episode of Mikey's Acre of Earth, I trade with my buddy Rory and them for the rear end, and, you know, really start piecing the car together. You're going to kind of see the backstory of how I got it, where I got it, and even Benny cut me a super good deal on the shell. So I'm going to try to keep it as low budget as possible. The engine I traded Delbert for, so I don't have a lot of money, but I've got a ton of time in this thing already wrapped up. Yeah. And I'm hoping that as far as like a budget goes, I'm hoping I can get out there with the same kind of budgets before. I've went out there, every single one of these cars, I spent less than $5,000 on. Every single one. Like, I had $4,200 in Big Deal. It still isn't running. I've still got to wire it, but I wanted to get it looking like a finished car. And then the pickle jar, it's daily driver, and I did it for $3,900. And then I had $4,800 in the RV, running, driving, sleeping. Like, we've been camping in it. So I don't want to show up with a car I've got 50 grand in, right, but I want it to look like it.
Do you, are we gonna get to paint the Bugeye Sprite with Acer shades?
Yeah, so I've decided, I'll even tell you the name. since we're paper to pavement, I'm thinking I want something paper, like the seam ripper was to advertise for my upholstery shop, so I built the seam ripper. And this time, like, I want something to represent paper to pavement. So I've decided I'm gonna call this thing the paper chaser, and I'm gonna paint it just an obnoxious gold flake. And just, this year we're going for gold, man. Like, let's go for gold. And then when I do the lettering on it, which I'm going to do myself, I've been talking to Spock out in Arizona from Freak Flake, and he's been bouncing ideas back and forth with me, and he's going to be helping me develop all the t-shirt designs and stuff that we use too. He's been helping me tremendously. But talking to him and figuring it all out, and it's like this year, I think it's going to be a going for gold season. I'm going to letter this thing. The lettering itself, like I'm going to do paper, and then chaser, I'm going to use like a cent sign, dollars and cents sign, and just really dial this thing into something that I think could be a toy car. I like that the Bugeye Sprite has never been a Hot Wheels car. Like, they've never made one. So, and it's another one of my favorite cars. That's the reason it's back there, is for the day I get the opportunity to build it the way I want to, and today's that day. And doing it through the Southeast Gasser Association, what made me sign up the very first time for the Southeast Gasser Association was the fact that they had their own Hot Wheels car. It was the racing organization in nostalgic racing that associates with Hot Wheels. So that's why I was there the first time. And I tried to make my name through cars that really weren't representing me the way I wanted to. So I've left, and I've actually made contacts at Hot Wheels now and going back racing with somebody that already on the pegs with them. So I do feel like I can still add this up into more of a good storyline to tell.
A gentleman named Nicholas, last name had a K, he said, what about like green and gold for the paint? And then, sorry I didn't see your name, it went away, but someone said, heck yeah, you're finally doing like a live stream.
Yeah, now that I've finally got all this set up back here, we have internet. So we tried on the finale to record from out in my shop. I had worked after Houston nonstop to set up like a live recording studio out there, and the signal is so bad in my steel building that I finally got this set. I got this set up like 3 minutes before we went live today.
Can we show through the window?
Please, yeah, like just show
them.
him.
In the pantry.
Yeah, and there's my shop back there.
So you can see the shop, and it just wasn't, the signal wasn't wasn't the best.
So now we're here, and I'm going to be doing a whole lot more lives. Like, that's the whole reason for this back here. I want to be able to go live and tell you guys what's going on at WyoTech too. So anytime events are going on there, anybody in the area can go give support to the school.
Oh yeah, Motorhead 18 MIA said was excited that you're doing this stream. So we get to bring back Ace of Shades, Freak Flake. Did they have a gold Ace of Shades?
Yeah, that Pharaoh. Well, Ace of Shades, I'm sure. I'm sure they'll have a gold base that I like, but I'm going to use a Pharaoh gold from Freak Flake.
Okay.
They've got a few gold options. I like that Pharaoh gold, and I even have an idea to buddy up with. I always like everything in pairs. I build duos from Deputy, so the Bugeye Sprite allows me to dive into my sketch pad a little deeper with some other ideas that I've had that I can use as haulers, because at the end of this, I want a rival set. I want a snake and mongoose feel with Big Deal and the pickle jar, like that pickles kind of poverty-stricken type of food, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got like the low budget, made from the trash car, and then I'll have kind of the snake and mongoose paper chaser, and then the hauler will be called the bank vault. And I'm going to do them as a pair of like a matching pair, snake and mongoose style, to go head to head with Big Deal and the pickle jar. So when we go and travel, I can put on a full show in between rounds with the rocket cars, the wheel standers, and then you're going to see micro car shootouts with me.
Do you think we'll probably just be doing Sega, or do you have anything in mind? Like, have you talked with WyoTech or NHRA or stuff that we may go somewhere else, or just mostly we go to Sega and use the weeks between to get ready for the next race that we can make it to?
I haven't talked to WyoTech about like additional plans for this season, because like the first year, like we just got the sponsorship this year. Like I got this, like we actually landed it on build day 50 of the RV. Like I didn't know if we were going to be able to do anything. So landing that and knowing that we can build off of a partnership now is a relief. Like this is something we haven't had before. And that lets me know that I'm going to be able to travel. I've got a bus built now that I didn't have this time last year either, that I'm going to be turning into a store. And then I see Sega being just the biggest audience with something, especially now with the Point series. I can put together a really fun series to watch on Mikey's Acre of Earth. Like you can keep up with the Point series. We're gonna have other like at-home builders that we can highlight, and then the audience that brings in are potential students for WyoTech. Like these are young guys that are out there. You remember Aiden that used to come to the track with us too? Like
Yes.
we always have a young audience that comes into the pit and hangs out with us. And I know now, especially that I've got the partnership with WyoTech, that I can kind of spread the word through there really well. I'm not saying that's all I'm going to do this season. I plan on going back to Beatersville. I'm going to go to as many Hot Wheels shows as I can. I proved in Houston that people will travel in to see us. We had people go through customs, fly in out of country to come see what we're doing.
Oh, that guy from Venezuela.
Yeah.
That was cool.
I-
There's someone from Mexico, right?
Yep, we had two. We had someone from Mexico and someone from Venezuela.
That's
So
awesome.
it's like, okay, well, the Hot Wheels audience is obviously going to support us too. So right now, I want to put my focus where I know our audience is showing up to see us, and I know that's at Southeast Gasser Association races, and then at the Hot Wheels shows. Because at the end of this, guys, like my main objective, like no matter what, is to have a toy line. Like not just win one show and get one toy out on the shelves in a Legend Store package. That's not my goal.
Michelle Dupree says she just enjoys, watching the videos. And do you plan on having a Hot Wheels car every year, different one every year?
Yeah. So I'm a builder, and I'm seeing myself as I'm not. I hate saying it like this, but this is just a perspective. I want to be like Ed Roth. I want to build a cast of cars that I can get known for. I can travel with, depending on what event, and then we can sell merchandise of those products. I want these cars to be loved enough for it not to make sense to sell them. I want to be able to put them to use, develop them through my show, and that's the reason I didn't really dial in and make them perfect from the start. Like you see the series, and they're all like, I do them as nice as I can, but I've been doing them in these like thrash sessions. And I'm doing that so on Mikey's Acre of Earth, I can pull, just like Stacy David does on Gears, I can pull from this car, I can take this car, and the show isn't just a stagnant, I'm only working on this truck episode after episode after episode.
Yeah.
I can bounce around to our cast of cars and bring back the ones you love when you want to see them.
Now, like for instance, now that you got the shop all done up, you got half of, you would say, like almost like the art side, and then you have like the work side. Now, as setting up the shop like that, would you ever want to talk about what your plans in the future with like the part of the acre back there? What would you hope to have maybe like connected to the shop or display? Like what's your kind of like goals, and you can kind of share people with that property.
Yeah, so you poke out and just look again. If you see my front shop, that's what all you guys see me recording in. And then I also have a big storage building in the back that's 64 by 72. And that is pretty much the potential of the future here. Like,
Yeah.
I can turn that in, I'm hoping I can turn that into my 1-to-1 scale toy factory in the back to where I can still build these monsters here. And then on the other side, like we can package, develop actual products back there. I want to turn this into my hub. Like I want this to be the spot where all my merchandise ships out of. I mean, hopefully one day we have employees and we can keep some of the area fed too. Like that's the goal. But for now, I'm using it as storage, and I'm focused inside my shop just making the best show I can. I know that, like, it's hard to explain, but I see the addition of animation in Mikey's Acre of Earth. Like, what you guys are seeing is just what I can do. I'm editing all Mikey's Acre of Earth, and then Trent is doing the music, and he's cleaning it all up and, like, fixing my transitions that aren't great. I'm learning. I feel like I'm doing a lot better. We just did episode 10, and that's the 10th video that I've ever edited together myself, and I was way happier with it than going back and watching episode 1. So I am happy with myself, and I do know that once we really get this animation thing figured out, I plan on this being like a bed knobs and broomstick, Mary Poppins type thing. Like I want animated like characters within the show, and I want it to be a true like PBS style Reading Rainbow, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood type experience. I want not just guys that are building cars to like it. I want their kids that are sitting in the shop like mine do with me to be excited about the next episode coming out too. Because the main purpose of all of this is so when I'm on my deathbed, my grandkids can go back and see what led them to what we've got. Like I want to know that we can go back, they can see that, guys, even though I never knew you, I was still trying to entertain you, you know, and I love you guys. So hopefully it'll all come together pretty soon.
Catch up on some comments real
Yeah.
quick. Bustin' Knuckle Workshop says, Mikey, love your builds and your passion. Keep going. You will make your dreams come true.
Awesome.
And right after that, Motorhead 18 MIA says, send me the application. Probably with a referral of having employees.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, we actually kind of talked about it. You know, we joked about it during Christmas. You know, I was driving through downtown. There was no lights up, and it kind of takes me back to when we first met, when we were shooting the Seam Ripper. And was it the Pearl Necklace? What did you call your truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were shooting that for Rod and Culture, and I remember how much I fell in love with the downtown deputy. And it is kind of cool to think, like, from a camera and your build, I feel like there's a potential to uplift our little town and make it like something on the map to go to, you know?
For sure. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but since I was a little kid, you know, you go into those towns and you drive into them, and they're like, this is the birthplace of Abraham Lincoln, you know, like that kind of thing at the store, at the edge of town.
Yeah.
It was like, I want to be that guy in Deputy. Like, I want to be the sign hanging when you go, this is the home of Paper to Pavement. One of these days, you know, like, it was never Paper to Pavement, it was just me, but whatever I do, like, I hope that the area is proud of it, because I'm trying. Like, I'm not trying to make us look stupid. There's a lot better builders out here than me. There really is. They're just quiet. You know, they keep to themselves. They don't post videos and everything. And I'm out here like actually trying to shine a light to tell people to move out here. Like, see what you can do when you have kind of peace and quiet. It's really nice, you know, because even the other builders, they keep to themselves. And then when you come together, it's really to associate on a build and a project that's going to be doing something. You know, Jeremy Lawfer up here, he was racing Baja 500. Like, it's all over the world from around here. And I am hoping that, you know, in the future, the other, like the youth of my area starts to get more interested in the trades industry. You know, it's getting out to where people just don't have jobs out here. Like, they just don't go to work. They either go work at the factory or they don't work at all. And then I watch them lose everything. And then, like, sadly, just like everywhere else in America, fentanyl's hitting out here. Like, people are dropping dead all the time. And I don't want that to be the fate of my area. I don't want to see it turn into just a place people go to rot. I want this to thrive. And we've got every ingredient you need for the recipe to do that. But I do believe with me, I mean, I'm one of the first people in my area to even leave here and go to college. And I went to college and I made a mark. Not just that, I'm sponsored by my college. Like, that's who gets sponsored by their college. Like, that's crazy. And if you ask anyone I was sitting in class with when I left out of high school, oh, where's he going to be? They wouldn't have said I was going to be doing any of this. You know, it's wild that since my kids and the commitment of, you know what, let's stop talking about one of these days I'm going to have my own show. Let's stop doing that and let's just do it. And then meeting you, Trent, and making all that happen, it's really added up to where now I can actually see this coming into something. Like, no matter what, I do have my own show. You know, just because it ain't on TV don't matter. Like, it's on YouTube. You can put YouTube on your TV. And at the end of the day, that's as good as being on PBS right now.
Yeah. Now, and that actually, Michelle Dupree brought up a good thing, because I want to know, even myself, when you start focusing on the Bugeye Sprite, what happens with the RV? And she asked, how many times have you actually got the camp in the Izetta camper, kind of like so far?
The camper has been used as a camper and clubhouse more than a car. I really would like to take the engine cradle back out of it and do a few adjustments. I might even swap that engine out to something that's automatic, like something that doesn't have a clutch pedal. It all works fine, but that clutch is just so touchy. So I'd really like to adjust it some more, but I got to talk my son to getting out of it. I've got it in the back of my shop right now, kind of in their play area, and that's where he's at. Like, it's just been the clubhouse. Once I get going on the Bugeye, I plan on just keep doing that. On all the episodes of Mikey's Acre of Earth, I'm going to be developing the pickle jar a little bit more to make it even more reliable. I found a fuel injected engine setup that I can put in it, get a little bit better fuel mileage. I really want to get that thing to where I can drive it to Louisville and back to the supply house and get 20 miles a gallon is my goal.
Is this the pickle jar? Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying? Okay.
And then the big deal, my little Harley Davidson powered one, I'm going to finish it up and turn it into a burnout car this year. I really don't need it to make passes. I got to spend a lot of money to make passes, but to get it to smoke the back tires, I can get it going pretty cheap. So I'm going to build it as a little hot rod that we can have with us everywhere we go, and I can still put on a show in the pits and do whatever we need when we travel. Because, I want to be a big enough draw with these cars to where people are paying us to be features, where they'll try to get us to come in, do shows, set up, entertain the crowd, and give me a place to set my school bus up as a store and sell our merchandise. And hand out some pamphlets for WyoTech too. Anytime you see me, I have boxes of WyoTech brochures, stickers, pamphlets. I carry them with me everywhere I go. So anytime you guys are around me and you want any information about WyoTech, just know I always have that with me. So please ask me. So, but the RV though, one thing that I am planning to do, like my next big idea step with the RV, is I'd like to get it like buttoned up, completely finished, and make a roof rack. Like, I really wanted to put a roof rack on it. I want to do all that, and I want to like really debut it finished, running, driving the way I want it to, by Beatersville this year in Louisville. I haven't been back there in a couple years. I debuted the pickle jar there, and I would really like to go back with the RV and show kind of my whole set. And Beatersville is the closest thing I can call to like a home show. Like, that's my home base. And I've been there since I was 16, 17 years old. Those people are family to me. And there in May, it usually happens right around my birthday too. So it's a good way to celebrate.
Dave, let me pull up the comments again. Sorry, guys. Dave Overholt said the Bugeye for the win. Super stoked for you, man, and always great stuff happening on Mikey's Acre of Earth.
Thanks, Dave. If I'm running through Colorado, me and you are going to go heads up, buddy. My inline 4-cylinder Bugeye will look real good next to your 6-cylinder dragster, buddy. Y'all be sure to check out Dave Overholt. He's got a super, super clean little car he's putting together. And it's got a 302 GMC injected. It's a bad unit, man. Please go check it out.
Far Side Adventures just said subscribe. Oh yeah, by the way, have you checked?
I don't know. We're trying the goal. The only goal that I haven't hit this year is 20,000 subscribers. That's what I was really trying to hit. And we are at 19,981. Brother, we only got 19 more to go, and we got 6 hours to get there. So if you all tell your buddies, I'd really appreciate it. And if you're on here and not subscribed, please subscribe. It helps us out a lot. These numbers are what all of the sponsors and potential partners look at to see if we're worth investing in. So if you guys like what you see here and want to see more of it, the only way to really make this grow into what we want it to is to get more people on board. So please subscribe and tell your friends. We'd really appreciate it.
Unconventional Metal says fellow fabricator, metal artist, gearhead, Hoosier from Fort Wayne.
Nice. Thanks for being here, brother.
Now, you said like Sega's going to be mostly like the goal and everything. Do you think that for you, do you kind of have your game plan on just like some of the local shows, or try to do every race possible?
It just depends kind of how the partnerships go this season. We don't know yet. Still got to talk about all that with everybody that's interested in getting involved. But if it's up to me, I'm at every single Sega race, and I'm at every single Hot Wheels show in the United States.
Yeah.
If I could afford to, if I can afford it, if I can figure it out, I will be at every single one. Because the crowd it brings in.
Yeah, even if you won an early show, would you keep going?
Yeah. For sure I would. And, I really, especially if I win an early show, I want to go back because it gives me the opportunity to take all the cars many times and let people, because if we're going for the toy industry, this is an audience that are there for toy. Like the crowd that the Hot Wheels Legends Tour drags in stands in line to get that free car from buying so much merchandise inside. So the reaction I get from them is something I can actually act on. When they go, oh, I wish it had lights here or something. Well, they're looking at it from a toy perspective. So it gives me a chance to really mingle with the crowd that I'm trying to do business with, which I don't get anywhere else. A lot of other places you go and they're like, oh, that's awesome, man. Like when I had the truck and everything, they're like, oh, I love these trucks. My grandpa had one of these. It's like, yeah, but did your grandpa go to Walmart 3 times a week to check the pegs for new cars? Like he probably didn't. So even though it's cool and my grandpa likes them too, my grandpa didn't like toy cars. So I'm almost, not going the right route for what we need. And I like being around, I like being around that crowd at Hot Wheels a lot because the age range is just like Southeast Gassers. Like you get young people all the way to old people to where, like when I did import shows back in my teenage years with my friends, it seemed like kind of the same demographic, like 20-year-old, 30-year-old crowd. And I like the really young crowd for my kids to interact with and the older crowd for us to kind of use as mentors. Because, I mean, if there's no older people in the crowds that you're going into, it's hard to learn anything when you get there, at least from my point of view.
Big Job 4 kind of brought up something good because even though, besides what we talked about with the hosting ideas with you on Speed and Porch about history and cars and stuff, but he brought up a great idea. Do you have any idea or kind of goals to collaborate with any other channels out there?
Yeah, I would love to. I've actually, this is crazy, but what got me into custom cars in the very first place, like what made me call WyoTech and say, you know what, sign me up. If you've got a street rod class, I'll do it. Was Ian Roussel, his DVD in Walmart. Like it was in the $5 bin when I was a kid. I was like 14 or 15 when that DVD came out. And I got it for my birthday or something, watched it, and was like, man, I want to do that. Like that guy, I remember him saying, just start cutting, and if you screw it up, just call me, I'll fix it. And I was like, well, that's good enough insurance for me. I got on Facebook, and I was like, well, he is on there. I friend requested him, he sent it, and I was like, I think I'm going to cut stuff up. So it's kind of wild this year. I was watching his show, and he was like, I want to give a shout out to this Izetta RV that's getting built. And he gave me a shout out. So he started, like me and him started private messaging each other, and he gave me an invitation out there if I want to go work. So
what state is he in?
California.
Okay.
So it's on my to-do list. I'm trying to figure out a way to make that happen because if I can go out there and help him do whatever he's working on. I mean, I bring a pretty good bat belt with me that I picked up at WyoTech. I'm excited to get around someone that I look up to that much and kind of see how far I've got to go.
Now, like, if you had, obviously Ian is alive, but if you had let's say, an ultimate tour to collab with certain people that are no longer with us and with us, give me like a top 5 of if you had like one shop, and I guess you be one of those 4 other guys you would love to do like a collaboration build with. Like, what would you be your dream team, so to speak?
Man, my grandpa, Hunter, my nephew, just my family. Yeah. I'm not trying to stack myself up against anybody for any reason other than to show who taught me what they taught me before they left. It's been hard to keep going when all these people that I'm really trying to impress pass away. Kind of felt like all my close buddies have dropped on me. And I don't know, as far as like everyone always goes, oh, would you want to work with Ed Roth and stuff? And guys, I'm just not wired that way. It was good I was born in 1990 because if I was back then, I would have been rivals with them guys. I'd have been butting heads with them, and I wouldn't have been looking at their work and developing my own aesthetic. I would have been putting together what I wanted to compete against them with. And, you know, if I was born back then, that's where I would be. I do believe I would either be completely unknown for trying to go against these guys, or I would be one of them. I don't know why I feel that way, but there's just something inside of me telling me that's what the way it would have been. Because even now, like, doesn't matter how, like, I would go work with a lot of YouTube channels. I watch Puddin's Fab Shop. Um, I watch Ian, and I watch so many. I've got them on just cycle out there.
Yeah.
But like all these YouTube channels, like Roadkill, all of them, and now the Motor Trend guys are going to YouTube. So it's like, guys, I want to. I don't just want to associate with you guys and work on stuff. When you guys do these build offs and heads up and all these crazy things that you're recording, you're leaving out somebody. Like I can be in there and I can swing with them. I know I can, and I hope that through all these chases that starts to get me in the mix, because I'm watching these low budget build offs and all this stuff, and I'm like, man, I don't see you guys at the stages I'm at, and there's no other low budget people there. So I don't know. I'm hoping in the future that this starts to open up, and like my hot rod recycling mentality starts to kind of level the playing field, because I don't want to go into this big, huge production studio where they've got all the money in the world and go head to head with a guy that's used to having all the money in the world. No, I want them drug out in a junkyard with me. I want them put in my element, you know, like, you get out here, no tools, no nothing, and you make this work like I make this work. Let's stack you up, you know. And I really think that if there's ever an opportunity come up, that it's like, let's see what the human being can do, not the tools, not the everything. And I understand there's a knowledge in it, but knowledge is just repetition. And I am doing things I've never done before every time. Like, I just coach built a car out of scrap. I didn't learn that nowhere other than right then doing it. And that car landed me there. I don't know. I keep surprising myself with where I'm going. And when I went to WyoTech May 21st, 20th and 21st, which was my birthday. And I was like, I have to work the whole beginning of the year. I started 365 days ago today with this plan to let's piece together a car. I didn't even have that figured out yet. I just knew I was going to build a car. And I had to do that van interior, and I had to do that 36 Ford interior to get us caught up and enough money to go to WyoTech to pitch this idea. And I was so embarrassed to show all of the people I looked up to at WyoTech the picture I had of what I had to start with, because it wasn't even nice of scrap as I had to start on these. Like, it wasn't at all. It was junk.
Let me catch up on some comments. Sorry, guys, I didn't want to stop you.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Ain't for Life 20 said you ought to reach out to Cletus and see if he can fit in the camper.
Yeah, Cletus McFarland. I watch him too.
Let's see. I wonder why it's not letting me. Okay, here we go. Big Job Ford said, "They're proud of you, man. Looking down." Freddie Soto said, "Hey, what's up, people? Happy New Year. Keep on going. I know how you feel." Let me see if I missed anybody. Ink for Life said, "Oh yeah, that would be awesome. You both insane work would be awesome to collab for sure." Probably with the Ian reference. Well, you know, and that's something to think about too. Like, do you kind of feel like you're creating your own category? Because like, actually, I was showing Gene Winfield your camper, and he's like, keep going, keep going.
That's cool.
And I didn't even tell you that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I filmed it. I filmed him looking at your camper.
Oh, that's cool,
and,
man.
But I'll ask you the same thing I asked him. Do you kind of feel like, without knowing, you are kind of creating your own, if building cars was like a music genre, do you kind of feel like you are making your own blues, you're making your own rock, so to speak, right? Do you kind of feel like you're making your own category?
I don't know. It feels weird, because I don't know what I'm doing until, like, I kind of, like, right now, I need to know, what am I going to take to Southeast Gasser Association?
Yeah.
So that just locks in of, like, what toy do I want? I got to lock into, it's do or die, man. You're not going to say no to this. Like, you've got to figure this out. And when I put myself in them situations, I get really alone, and I don't know if you want to call it prayer or meditation. I just get really quiet. I put my earplugs in, and I just think as hard as I can. And like this time, it was, what is a race car that I want to be associated with for the rest of my career
Yeah.
that will also like be a Hot Wheels car? Like, what features of a car do I have that I could hold it in my hand? Like this car, man, I wanted to be able to get that car in a package. Like when I thought of that and pieced it together, I just knew that's what I wanted to do. And going back there and looking at the Bugeye, I knew just it'll have the whole doghouse, the whole nose flips up on it.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I see. I can see it. I close my eyes and I can see it. The little guy with the front end, and there ain't a Hot Wheels Legends car that has really a moving part like that. And it's like that's the thing, you know, the Gotta Go, which is a toilet car, the toilet lid raises on it, so why can't they make the front end raise on it? So I do see it being a toy that they've never done before that also adds a new feature that is toy-like. One thing that I'm not doing this time though, because I've really boxed myself in with the brand of Hot Wheels, is I designed everything up to this point asymmetrically for Hot Wheels packaging. You know, everything is pointing, so it's all pointing this way. That's how it sets in a Hot Wheels box. Well, if you look at the other brands of cars, like Greenlight Collectibles and Johnny Lightning, M2, even Matchbox, they face the opposite way. So you don't really have the detail options to show off these Izettas in packages other than the ones I designed them for with Hot Wheels. And with the Bugeye Sprite, and pretty much every car I've got from now on to build, I can go asymmetrical. So at the end of this, I do have the options of being like entertained by other brands too. So I'm not just going for one chick at the party, I'm going, you know, almost to a dating game here.
Yeah.
And I do want to jump into more, like, there's a toy expo in February in Vegas, and I'm trying to pile up enough money to get there, because I think if I can go out there, and I'm not going to be able to take my cars, but if I can get on a plane, go out there to that toy expo, walk around, shake hands, and meet people in the industry, I do believe that I can get a little farther, even if it's just knowledge on what processes do I need to do to design this stuff myself right here. Trent just dropped off a computer, so I'm going to be playing with that a lot more. And what can I learn to do to draft these things into things that I can 3D print for business? Like, how do I build a prototype, you know? And if I figure that out, a no is never going to stop me. I'll just fund it myself. I'll just do it myself. With the education that I have at WyoTech, I mean, this may sound bad, but since I've got that diploma, it's been like a license to print money. Like anything I want to do in my life, I can structure out a plan to work and do upholstery, do builds for Nevin, do whatever I need to do to get enough funding to make the next step happen. And if that means funding an entire toy line to get on the pegs at Walmart myself, I can do that with a little bit more knowledge, and I'm on that path. I will do that. But I'm not wanting to. Like, that's not my goal. My goal is to work and associate with people. You know, I do want to partner with toy manufacturers that can kind of cut me the line. I don't want to have to learn all this stuff, but I'm willing to. And I believe that willingness will make me worth dealing with for some of these companies. I hope it does anyway. And if it doesn't, I'm still going to be out there grinding in that shop like I always am. But I do 100% believe that my aesthetic is me picturing these things animated. I want to see cartoons climbing in and out of them, and I want them to still look like they are like an imagination. It can't be a car that you look at and you go, well, that's just like every other Bugeye Sprite even that we see. It's like, no, it's got to be dramatic. It's got to be a Hot Wheels car, and going a drag car out of like an iconic British, you know, I mean, it's kind of a sports car. It's like it's shaped kind of like a Corvette. So you've got this really pretty look that turns into a very nice restored car. Like, it's a car, it's a car that completely stock is just absolutely drop dead. So me taking it and having to cut the fender wells more to get the bigger tire on there and readjust the steering to get it all Sega legal, and suspension to get it all Sega legal. It sets it up in a place that I can modify. Like, I didn't use a Bugeye windshield. I used the MG windshield. I loved the shape of that MG windshield and that MG top. It's like a 66, 67 MG windshield and aftermarket style top from like 66 or 67. So to me, that is the look. Like that's the modification that I need for it not to be like every other Bugeye Sprite, you know? So I'm trying to look at everything aesthetically as a toy, which is just naturally setting me apart from the other guys out there building, 55 Chevys and square body Chevy trucks.
What day do you think me and you will start breaking ground and filming on the Bugeye for that?
Yeah, I mean it's going to be happening pretty soon. The weather's what's killing us worse than anything.
Yeah.
I've also, this is kind of a cool thing I'll get to announce here. It'll be on my show within the show. I'm gonna be doing a lot more art projects, and I landed a community art project up in the town of Vernon. They're starting a art and history park, and they've commissioned me to build a big vase of flowers, like a 6 foot tall vase of flowers, and it kind of gets me recycling stuff like I'm used to. I tried to get the community involved and get as much kind of scrap as I could, even if it's just to clean up the streets a little bit, get people to bring stuff that's leaning up next to their sheds. They brought it to me, and I'll be able to use it as structure and then as the petals and different flowers. I asked them if I could do wildflowers. That way I wasn't really boxed into anything and I could really explore different mediums because
Yeah.
I want to start working with plastic more. I want to start working with glass even a little more. I'm not saying I'm going to do that on that one, but there are mediums that I've never touched before that I do want to play with. I think it'll open my eyes up to these cars and then changing from cars to toys, us building toys and packaging them, that these art projects are going to help me out with a ton. So I just see like as long as we get warm days here pretty soon, which we have been lately, we're going to start recording on that pretty soon. Like I want to be getting that Bugeye Sprite coming together. It'll be coming together. We've decided on how we're going to start recording is we're going to break down everything into episodes of Mikey's Acre of Earth. I'm going to do all the build series through it, just like Stacy Davids does on Gears. And then once they're done, we're going to do paper to pavement special movies, just like stand-up specials for a comedian. And that will do like full recaps, set down interview style, just like the Banana Hammock movie and the ones that are theater worthy that Trent helps me with. That'll speed up this process to where we're not having to stop and hard edit everything. We can just worry about transitions through the projects that happen from week to week because we're really going to try to get here. My goal this year is to have a live with you guys 1 week and then kind of piggyback, like leapfrog the next week, me have an episode of Mikey's Acre of Earth is my goal. So I have something for you guys every week this year is the goal. And it may take me a few weeks here to get completely set up to where I'm doing anything other than just lives and one episode a month, but that's what we're working towards.
Let me catch up on some comments really quick. Let's start from latest to back. Unconventional Metal says you have a very unique goal, and you're using YouTube to get there, unlike the standard YouTube channels. He also said, even though your goal is different, Puddin started at the same point. He just had a few more tools. You've got more space and upholstery experience. Big Job Ford said, Mikey, like the old days when Harley bikers were looked down on back in the day, and today, if you own a store-bought Harley, you're cool, and it's not the same as when you put it all together out of nothing.
That is true.
Let me see. Dave said, Overholt says, pulling for you all the time and looking forward to taking the WyoTech's open house up in Laramie in June. Chances are I'll need to pick up some new paper to pavement swag from you. That might be something good to talk about too. Do you have any ideas of maybe like by the summer, maybe we'll have like a shirt or something?
Yeah, I'm actually, that's going to be one of the first things I'm hitting the beginning of this year. I'm hoping by the spring when we're ready to start rolling out that I'll have enough shirts, posters, and we're playing with some other products right now. I'm trying to design and develop a sketch pad, so you guys will have a drawing sketch pad out there that's a Mikey's Acre of Earth or paper to pavement design on the front of it. And I'm just trying to play with a lot more of that. I want to develop products that I actually want to use and want to see creatives using. I don't want just something to set on mantles. I really like the idea of being able to interact with everything we're doing. So I am working on that right now. Even like for the ones that haven't seen it, I got my Mascot all finished up for my Mikey's Acre of Earth. This is a rough draft that I'm going to be sitting down and doing the final on, and then I'll probably start with that. I'm probably going to release this. I've just been looking at so many people's, like Puddin kind of used the shape and stuff of the Frisch's Big Boy, you know, or like the Bob's Big Boy, wherever you're from, you know, and did his. I love that. It's so cool. But I just couldn't think of anything that I really liked and wanted. So I was like, I'm back here down a gravel road, the middle of nowhere, Mikey's Acre of Earth. And it's like, I want to be the lone kind of Sasquatch out here walking around, like Bigfoot. So I decided that I would stick to like the Dr. Seuss, even Doug, when I was a kid, the show Doug. Just I thought I'm gonna just pencil draw it. I'm not the best artist, like I'm not really very good at sitting down and drawing. I haven't spent that much time. Everything I do, I just am really developing and learning as I go. But I'm just gonna offer my best at all times. I really want to be the one that draws a lot of this stuff. Now, some of the other shirts, like I'm considering this being good enough artwork on my end, so I get to collaborate with like Spock and then Evan Danes over in Australia. He still has a couple of the originals that he hasn't shipped over here yet. He did an original of the banana hammock shirt we have, and then he did the Six Offender shirt too. So he still has he still has those. And I told him, well, don't send them to me yet. I'm looking for a reason to order another one. So I'll probably have him do the pickle jar or something, and that way he can roll them all up and send them at the same time.
Maybe Elon Custom says, wishing you all the best in 2025. You've been an inspiration to all of us, or to us all.
Thanks, man.
Unconventional Metal probably was laughing, said it's awesome at the logo that we just saw. And then Classic Car Guy, and I wonder how you got that generic name. It must have been early in YouTube, but he said, thank you for your insight on my body swap Miata Jeep.
Oh, okay, yeah. I just talked to him earlier. He said he's going to put a Jeep body on a Miata, and he said looking for pointers. I've never done it before, but what I was telling him is I would strip that Miata a little bit at a time and never get it not running. Like I would make sure if I cut the windshield post off of it, I could still drive it. Yeah. And then slip that body over, set it up on blocks of woods. All I do, get it to where I can walk around it. It looks good, and I start making mounts, filling in gaps. That's the beautiful thing about the trim and upholstery department that that class that I took at WyoTech is I left there with an understanding for patterns like I was never going to get doing anything else. And it just leveled me up. It just completely evolved my mind. I walked out and I stopped seeing everything as in like I need this much money for this many parts so I can bolt this together and get it. I didn't see it like that anymore. It was, if I can't afford it, I have to figure out a way to make it. And then I started really understanding the importance of the machine shop, of a machinist. Like, and my family are machinists, but they're quiet guys that don't talk. They leave their work at work. They don't bring it home. So I'm not like that. Like, once I get obsessed with something, it does not leave my mind. So going and actually learning how to pattern, learning how to see things from flat to all these curves and what you have to do first and the actual process, I just thrived at that. Like that was a part of, I don't know, that was a part of my brain that I've always tried to keep entertained that I never could. And now I am able to kind of look at a Mazda Miata and see a way to put a Jeep body on it. And it's cool that people are reaching out and asking me. I used to reach out to Ian Roussel and ask him, and now people are asking me. It's really cool.
It's about 5 minutes before we get to an hour mark, so I think it'd be a good chance that if anybody has any questions, please send any questions. This will kind of help let you guys get heard and stuff like that.
Yeah, please do. If you guys have anything that you want to know about, and tell your buddies about this. We're trying to get our subscriber number to 20,000. I don't know where we're at. We're at 18 away, so we're close no matter what.
Big Job Ford said your builds would be great for young kids to wear and get into hobby and creativity and yeah, I think wear one of your T-shirts and apparel, etc. Plus the adults who love it, what you do. I assume trying to say like what you do kind of relates to kids and adults, and I think that's what's so fun about what we do. It's we don't really ever have to truly walk some line of being have to be politically correct or anything because what we're doing is just creating art. It's just with metal, it's with other materials, and it's just family fun. And I think that's what's been on my side for editing it, shooting it. It's always been so easy because it doesn't feel like it goes against anything like my quotations, my morals. It's just a fun, it's a feel good. And like, I think we need more feel good in the world.
Well, we're just trying to make what we want to watch. You know, like I'm only making a show that I'm interested in seeing. You know, so the hardest thing for me, and you'll see it through this next series. I have a really hard time with a rule set, and Southeast Gasser Association has a really tight rule set. So I've had to develop and really plan this Bugeye out. I already got it approved. I told them my whole build plan. I sent it in, and I got it. I got the green light on it. But still, there is things I would do if I didn't have to. You know,
Yeah.
if I could do anything I wanted to, I would paint it different. I would do this different. So there is a line that you have to walk sometimes that isn't very fun, but I always end up having fun because you're going and racing. You know, if you want to be a part of something, you're going to have to, you know, turn yourself just a little bit. And I haven't had to at all the last few years. Like these cars right here are an extension of me. They're exactly what I want to build. And I didn't have anybody telling me yes or no on anything. Like anyone that said, oh, that ain't going to work, I just completely ignored. You know, I was like, okay, watch this. And I did everything I wanted to. And now with the Bugeye, you kind of get back to where, I mean, it's crazy taking a Bugeye Sprite, turning it into drag cars, me going, oh, this is kind of a normal build. It's not that wild. But it kind of isn't compared to what we've done here lately. And even the last drag cars that I built from complete scratch, like that, the banana hammock, I had pretty extreme modifications to it with the fender well openings and, you know, even putting the 55 Chevy fenders on the front and building that chassis from complete scratch. Like that's all stuff that I'm not gonna have the chance to get to do on a car that's as nice as this Bugeye.
Yeah.
So uh, I don't know. There's a certain thing that's like once a project almost seems easier, it gets not as fun. I love the going to war with you. Is there any way this is even possible? Like on day one, you look at it and everyone else is going, when's this got to be done? And you go, no, 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 it's going to be done in 40 days or it's going to be done in 80 days. I love getting in that mentality. So I'll figure out some way to get us there, but the stress is fun. Like we make the stress on purpose for an entertaining show. Like Mikey's Acre of Earth, Paper to Pavement, everything is a lineal story. Like everything just goes in order. I want you to be able to watch the very first things we make and see the natural progression of what we turn this thing into. Because like we've came a long way, we really have. But I just now feel like we're starting to get the momentum built up to where if I truly want to compete for something new, that they'll greenlight it. They'll let us come in.
Back up a little bit. Classic Car Guy asked, "What's up your sleeve?" It's hard to be anything you've already built. So that would be the Bugeye Sprite, which kind of just covered catching up. Big job for us, and just do it. Thumbs up. Conventional said, "Is this the famous Trent filming?" Yeah, I'm the one that's holding the shaky camera because
Yeah.
we don't have a tripod in here. So I
Yeah,
appreciate you
sorry.
guys. Classic Car Guy said, if you guys just stepping into the live chat, please hit the like and subscribe button. You might learn something and don't cost nothing. And that's something too I noticed. We don't really ever say that typical phrase like smash that
I
like and
don't.
subscribe because I feel like me and you, just like you said, we're so focused on getting the job at hand done. It's like you build it, record it, depending on, you know, if it's the acre, then you're editing it, then I just add the music. It's just like we just care about getting the content out there for the people to see because to me, when you build something, it's kind of a reminder. If I find like a certain archive, an old movie, I I don't care if it's going to get 2 likes or 2 million likes. I just want people to be able to watch it now. And when I have it in my possession, I'm like, it's no good just sitting in my desk. I want it to be out there to
Yeah.
see. I want to let people know what's possible because it kind of reminds me of. Do you remember when Mike Metzger did the first backflip on the dirt bike. And once he did that first backflip and showed a human can do this on a dirt bike, it felt like everybody warms up with backflips now. And
Yeah.
I think what you're trying to do is let people know, like, hey, if you have the willpower, you can really go out and make something out of nothing.
Well, and I mean, at the end of the day, all we're trying to really do is, I'm trying to entertain my wife and kids, really. Like, I'm a stay at home dad. I make my money here at home, and we homeschool them. So, as long as they're having fun, I'm having a lot of fun, you know? So, I'm very fortunate that they let me do this because if they didn't enjoy it, I couldn't. I couldn't make myself want to put this much effort into it. So I do like that now that we're like if I say hey I want to go do this, they believe me. You
Yeah.
know I have the support and that's something important in everybody's life. If you don't have the support system and the people behind you believing in you at all, like if no one's believing in you, it'd be hard to go out there and even try to do things because there's days during these builds that I don't think it's going to happen. And I have to have you, Trent, come over here and pick me up off the ground or Ruthie and tell me, like, no, look at day one, you know, compare it to where you're at now. You're going to crush it the rest of
Yeah.
this.
Dave Overholt said a lot to come together, I'm sure, but any chance of making the first Sega race in March 21st? If not, is there a Bugeye debut date set? Such a cool idea, and really looking forward to see this happen.
Yeah, I want to be there. I want to debut it that day. It may not be painted, but I want to have it running. I want to do all the testing in it because I'd like to show it in Hot Wheels pretty early. And I believe Hot Wheels starts going in April or May by the time we'll be able to get to them. So I would really like to get it out to the first race and go to all of them, man. If they're racing for a point series, I want to try. I want to actually put in effort to try to get points. I want to go in and I want to focus on my lights, and I can drive pretty well. Like I'm happy. I went to Frank Hawley's racing school in Florida with my father-in-law and got my super comp license a long time ago. And then when I got into Sega, I really kind of got addicted to leaving with the clutch and using a line lock for the first time. I always had a trans brake, you know, with a power glide. So going to, I don't know, it's letting me scratch an itch that entertains me. I'm wanting to get out here and make passes and get this car faster and develop it. I'm not worried about being the fastest guy in the class. I'm not at all. But I want to know that we're making a progression in a car that's worth investing in. You know, I want to like the car. So the Bugeye is another one of my favorites. And when I was digging through like the catalog of what would be kind of the most obscure car that is still Sega legal, that is in my wheelhouse that I like, the Bugeye Sprite is it. I don't think anyone's going to show up with like a car that's any more unique or rare. The Fiat 600 we had was a kind of an odd little car to have in the class, but I think the Bugeye will be even weirder. There's going to be a lot of people that have no clue what it is. And it's a face only, you know, somebody that really loves them can like. So it also gives me a opportunity to show that, you know, the ugly guy can be cool too.
Now, is there a chance that you would ever allow sponsorship from, let's say, a fan's like company or stuff, or do you have to keep certain space open for like WyoTech only or something? Like, did they ever talk to you about that?
No, we didn't talk about any of that, and I don't believe that that's the case at all. I just want to have the opportunity to represent solely with WyoTech if I can. But as far as product sponsors and stuff, I'm open for all product sponsors. That's what I'm really trying to associate with. If you have a business or a brand that offers a product that I can use on the show and I can advertise in action. Like I don't want to just stop and then do coffee ads or stuff. You know, I mean I will if we've got to keep the lights on, but I'm hoping that I can really help people sell their product and stuff that's made by people we actually know, you know, and if it is something that we use while we travel or use it on the hauler or something, I do want to be able to show videos of us actually putting it to use instead of just talking about how it gets used.
Right.
So I mean, I'm completely open to brand, you know, many brands. I've sent, I've already sent a lot out to like WD-40 places like that, but I'm not getting answers back. So all I can do is just keep sending and wait to see what sticks until I run into somebody in person. But that's what I've found out really through even the upholstery shop, through racing, through any of this, is the only way to get sponsors and to get anybody really partner with you and get a really good competitive car is to get out to the racetrack, let them meet you, let them see you, shake hands with them, and once they see like how invested I am in trying to do something as good as I possibly can, I am the kind of person that will represent your brand the best I can, you know. So I do believe that we'll get plenty more once I get out there in the real world. And that trip me and Trent took to Houston in my bus really solidifies that we'll be able to make that happen this next season. We have a hauler now. I'm not borrowing a truck. I'm not borrowing a trailer. And hopefully I don't have to borrow gas money this year either. We can make that happen. And then this will be the first year. Like, we're getting ready to go into January 1st, buddy, and we're sponsored. Like, we have something to build from. We know that we can go and represent somebody with what we've built ourselves. And that alone has been worth all the effort. Just knowing that when I was in high school, I told myself I want to go to WyoTech so I can be my own man. I ain't looking for a job. I'm looking for never having to get one. I can go there, build a skill set, come here, and anytime I want more, all I got to do is work more. That's it. And I have proven that. Like, I proved that that works. And now I'm sitting here partnered with the people that I asked if they would help make that happen. So I just feel like everything's up from here. I've struggled and I've shown how well I can do with nothing. And I hope that now I can show how much more I can do for how many more I want to help too in the future with the people that are partnered with us.
Nice.
I'm hoping. And that is a beautiful thing about WyoTech is they've seen me since I knew nothing. You know, like they know my true value versus other companies. You know, we've had other companies reach out. We had a pickle company reach out to us. And it's like all they're really stacking us up for is what I am today, which there's a part of me that I want to do business with people that understand the growth to this point and understand that I ain't stopping. I'm just getting started. Like, I'm finally getting started. And WyoTech understands that. They watched me walk in day one and say, I hope to be the next Ed Roth, to everyone laughing. To then when I called back and I said, hey, is there any way you guys could help me get on a TV show or do anything? And they're like, well, we'll get you on Chop Cut Rebuild. You come in, you do that, that'll get you on TV. And then I was like, well, do you have any way that I could work to get to SEMA? And they're like, you're going to SEMA with the Chop Cut Rebuild. And then when I was at SEMA, I asked them at WyoTech, I was like, if there's ever any opportunity that I can build something to show here, I would love to. I'd love to have that opportunity. And they were like, well, what if you bring that truck you're building to SEMA in the WyoTech booth the next year, which was 2017? And it's like, everything that I've needed to do, I needed to do all those steps to grow into something that was worth investing in the first place. And WyoTech has always gave me the shot. You know, I've asked for them and I've told them, I've never asked for anything easy. I've always asked them for a hard, something really hard to accomplish. And I've needed their help and they've always helped me. WyoTech offers a career services department that you always have access to when you go there. Like right now, if I go, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm done. I can call WyoTech and I can say, I'm looking for a job. Can you help me put a resume together? Can you set up interviews? Can you help me get spaces? And you can. They'll do it. And that's something that I haven't ever heard of a school that'll do that for you. So that safety net that I have really gives me the confidence to go for anything. What's the worst that can happen? I have to start over? I've had nothing before. Now at least I got a wife, kids, house. I got everything I've dreamed for. So all I can do is go out there, try. And every time I've tried, I've landed bigger opportunities for us than I even dreamed up from the start. So I just stopped doing that. Like, I stopped going like, this is the goals next. And I'm just looking right in front of us now. Like, we know we're going to build another car next. We know that. Win, lose, or draw. All leads to the next build, But what I want to do is I want to start filling the gaps in my life that I want to go and bring my kids into and the experiences that I want us to have. And I want to build machines that fill those gaps. if I want to build America's most beautiful roadster, if I want to go for that, I know that we can piece it together here, and I know the route to get there, and we're at least standing there and competing with the best in the world. And I can do all that thanks to WyoTech.
Killer.
So, I mean, if you get anything out of that, go to wyotech.edu. If you're interested in looking into it, I know WyoTech's not just looking for students either. They're looking for instructors and looking for investors. And it's something to really get behind. I know a lot of people send money to a lot of places as tax write-offs, and I always look at it like, those people just burn your money, right? And with WyoTech, they have Love Trades Foundation that take money for WyoTech scholarships to make more people like me. I'm from a town of 38 people. Like, there's no opportunities for us to get out of here by doing anything but working hard with what you know and learn. And when I went to WyoTech, I left for 9 months and came back, started a business. Like, I was ready to go. I was my own man from day one. And anytime I ran into any kind of issues with materials, with suppliers, with customers, I called and got advice. I never felt ashamed to call them for advice. Like, they've never made me feel that way. And if you're stuck in a spot where you feel like you need, a reliable team behind you, getting a start at WyoTech isn't as hard as you may think. You can reach out and look into what it takes to enroll, and it's never too late to restart your life. I even know with the upholstery, if you only want to go learn upholstery, there's ways that you can go in for only 3 months. Just take upholstery, get out of there and start a business. So I suggest anyone in the world that's got any question whether they've got something left in the tank or not to go find it at WyoTech. That's where I found it. We got any more questions on there?
Let me see.
Uh-oh, we're 15 away from our yearly goal, brother.
See, Barris and all the other builders of days gone by didn't realize the doors they were opening for themselves and the reputation that skyrocketed in time. Said by Big Job Ford. Tona Flores said, "Evening, late to the game. Happy New Year from the UK. Looking forward to it."
Awesome. UK.
But yeah, man, I think that kind of sums up. And what's kind of cool, even though being behind the camera right now and for this live, but there is this fun rush of every year. It's like, what do we all get to see get created, And it's been the IZAD's last couple years. And going back to, I started filming with you with the banana hammock days, but I'm really excited for this Bugeye Sprite. Like, it is a car that, to me, it's like, I may never, like, for myself, I may never be able to afford, like, a Corvette, but I feel like we can pull off some awesome designs with another Bugeye Sprite body,
And it gives me the opportunity to, I mean, as bad as this may sound, it gives me the opportunity to split an audience. I think the best things in life split an audience. Some people need to look at it and go, why would you pick this car? And some people need to look at it and go, that's my favorite car I've ever seen. Like, I like those cars. That's how the IZ is. A lot of people look at me with these IZs and they're like, why do you waste your time on them cars? Especially my friend group. Like, they're the big three. Like, they're Chrysler people, they're Ford people, they're Chevy people. And I show up with all this weird stuff that I'm into, and they fall in love with it by the time they see what I do with it and how far I'm willing to go to make it what I see and hear. And I see all these done. I've got so many more to come, and I just feel like right now I'm kind of in my prime. Like, my creativity has always been here, but my skill set, I've always needed to just learn one more thing. And they just keep getting better and better. So I'm as excited as you guys are to find out what I don't know next, because I go into these things thinking I want to tackle this and with everything that I've learned, and I also want to pick up something new. And I'm going to get to do that really soon with this Bugeye. I'm going to dive into making fiberglass panels on it. I've never done that since high school. high school, well, right out of high school, going into college, we did a little bit of fiberglass work, but I've never made big full molds for anything. And with the Bugeye, I get to pop a mold for that whole front nose. I'd like to build a fiberglass nose for it, and I get to find out exactly what I don't know, which is the entertaining part of Mikey's Acre of Earth. And I hope you guys really subscribe to Paper to Pavement, follow along throughout the series of Mikey's Acre of Earth, and watch what I turn this thing into. Because I just know that if it goes the way that I'm planning, like everything else has to this point, that this is going to be something worth saying you were around when something big got going. I feel that this is going to turn into something that you've never seen before and you want to keep seeing. Whether it does or not, though, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep having fun and getting better. I appreciate all you guys that tuned in with me and Trent here. And be sure to go over and subscribe to Speed and Culture on YouTube, too. Trent is in charge of the Andy Sutherland archives, and he has been putting together awesome video clips off of Andy Sutherland's old shots and video. So be sure to go over there, check all that out. Subscribe to WyoTech. Oh, I want to tell you too, Ace of Shades Paint. If you go to Ace of Shades Paint, any order you want, and use the promo code PAPERACE, PAPERACE, Paper Ace, they give you 15% off. They're letting me share that code with any of my audience. And then, of course, go to Spock.co, get some Freak Flake, and Mr. Spock's got his plushies too. My homeboy here is already in the toy industry, so go over there and support him. And thank you guys so much for supporting us here on Paper to Pavement. 2024 has been the biggest year yet. We landed everything we set out to, and as of right now, we are 15 subscribers from hitting 20,000 on our YouTube channel too, which was the last kind of yearly goal we're going for. And the fact that we're right here saying that, brother, we did build another Hot Wheels car. And I said from the start, I bet you if I can pull this off, it'll make a deep run. I don't know what you consider a deep run, but the finale 2 years in a row, that's a deep enough run for me. Let's see if this Bugeye can get us there for 3. Third time's a charm, right? Hey, we'll see y'all on the next episode. Thank you guys for being here. I love you.
Awesome. Appreciate y'all.